Hi, I'm Bear.
And I'm Butterfly.
Hey, Butterfly. I was reading our 7UU principles, and one of them kind of confused me.
Oh, which one, Bear?
It's the second one: justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. What does that mean?
Well, that's one of the reasons our church does a lot of community service. It's talking about making life better for our neighbors. Oh, I know how to describe it. There's an old story from Islam that explains this perfectly. It's called the Better Deal.
Uthman ibn Affan was one of the very first followers of the Prophet Muhammad who started the Muslim religion. He was a very wealthy man who was known far and wide for his generosity. In fact, he was so generous with his money and possessions that people still tell stories about him today, more than 1,000 years later.
Uthman lived in Medina, which is now in modern-day Saudi Arabia. This is a very dry part of the world where there isn't a lot of rainfall. One year in the year 640, to be precise, the rain did not come and there was a drought.
Without any rain, the food crops withered. There was no figs on the fig trees, no olives on the olive branches. The people of Medina and all of their animals were running out of food. In fact, things got so bad that people had to eat leaves from the trees to survive.
Without food, the people knew they could starve. You can imagine how happy the people were the day they learned that a caravan of 1,000 camels was approaching Medina. Each camel was laden down with food.
The people began to imagine the smells that would fill their kitchens when they were cooking their favorite meals. Their mouths watered as they imagined the taste of their favorite food. Best of all, they imagined going to bed with full bellies for the first time in weeks.
Knowing that the caravan belonged to Uthman made the people rejoice even more, for they knew of his reputation of generosity. Surely he would give them a good price for the food he had for sale.
The merchants also rejoiced to hear that the caravan was approaching. For months, business had been slow because they had no food to sell. The people of Medina had stopped spending money in their shops. The merchants began to imagine their shops filled with hungry people willing to spend any amount of money in order to eat and feed their families.
Knowing that the caravan belonged to Uthman ibn Affan was not welcome news to the merchants, however, for he had a reputation for being a very sharp businessman. Although he was fair, he drove a very hard bargain.
Nonetheless, the merchants immediately went to Uthman. They wanted to buy the food from his caravan so they could sell it in their shops. They knew that in this time of famine, they could resell the food in their shops for 2 or even 3 times its usual price. So they were ready to pay any price to Uthman.
Uthman received all of the merchants graciously. No one was surprised, however, when he rejected their first offers. "I'm afraid I can't do business with you," he said, "for I have already received a better offer."
The merchants had expected they would have to offer him more money for the food, and they did. They raised their offers again and again, but each time Uthman declined. "I'm afraid I cannot do business with you, for I've already received a better offer." The merchants began to grumble amongst themselves. At this rate, they would barely make any money when they sold food.
Besides, they would have to charge so much money for the food that the people of Medina would barely be able to afford it. Perhaps Uthman's reputation for generosity was exaggerated. By refusing the prices they offered, he was driving the price for the food higher and higher. Some folks in Medina might not even be able to afford it at all.
Finally, the merchants made their best offer, 5 times the value of the cargo. Surely Uthman would accept it. Who could possibly have offered more? "I'm sorry," Uthman responded. "I cannot do business with you, for I have already received a better offer from Allah, from God. For Allah has said that anyone who gives away wealth in Allah's name will get it back far more than he gave away."
So it was that Uthman refused all the money that the merchants offered him, and instead he gave away all the food carried by the 1,000 camels in his caravan. He gave it away for free in Allah's name to the starving people of Medina. The story of a better deal is all about why we have the second principle.
So we can make the world a more fair place for everyone. If Uthman took on the offers of the merchants, some of the people wouldn't have the money to eat.
You're right.
I wish I could be like that, but I'm still too little.
Don't be silly. There's no such thing as too young to make a difference in the world. Here are 2 ways that kids can help. You could collect pop tabs and bring them to the Ronald McDonald's house. That's a place where families of kids that get sick can have their family stay with them at the hospital.
You can also give to food banks. We can donate cans of food. Often at grocery stores there are red barrels you can donate food in.
No matter how big or how small, how rich or how poor, we can make the world a better place for people to live. Goodbye for now, friends. Think about what you could do to make the world a better place and add it in the comments below.